do.
At some point, that is like reader abuse, though.
It is, yes, 100%.
I mean, because
I mean,
it's not like you're selling this in stores for people to buy and judge.
I give some.
I mean, I guess like for the purposes of a podcast.
I give some leeway when there's like at the very least like breaks that happen, not just like chapter.
Or you could be like Dune where there's no chapter title and you're just a quote and you have to be like, oh yes, that chapter quote, what was it?
First time chatter. We don't really have don't say the banned words on YouTube. That's really Sky Slasher, Shadow the Hedgehog, Scott. Guys, you are in the chat.
No, it's Inception. Shadow the Hedgehog indeed. I mean, okay.
I'm sorry. Use his proper name. It's Edgy the Hedgy. All right, we all know this.
True.
Edgy has
some respect on Shadow. He just had a game recently.
Okay, first off, Edgy the Hedgerson the third. The first two brothers died in the war. Put some respect.
Look, no one says his full name in casual conversation. We all know this.
Of course, but you have to respect the legal name.
Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome back to Bad Fan Fiction Night. I am your host, Remy McNeil. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful Twilight Guardian.
Hello.
We are continuing our deep dive into Sith Resurgence, Lily Orchard's really bizarre self-insert fanfiction retelling of the sequel trilogy of Star Wars films.
You could say it's a bizarre adventure.
Please give me a recap of last week.
All right, so last week some fuck shit happened.
Oh dear.
No, basically it was the moment where Rey runs off. Okay, so I think it was revealed last chapter. Rey learned that Aliana was a Sith, and so she ran off into the forest. And then the First Order attacked like they did in the film. Aliana handed Finn Luke's lightsaber so he could use it to defend them. Basically, they started kicking all sorts of ass, but it doesn't matter. The castle thing gets destroyed anyway. Rey gets captured.
Oh wait, did the
Kylo
traitor
Ren.
guy show up? I'm sorry to interrupt the recap. Did the traitor guy show? The one, the stormtrooper says traitor, and then does the cool little thing.
We don't see that. No, I don't think so. Well, there's a lot we're not actually
God
seeing.
damn it!
They didn't have the red arm scene.
And then, and then Aliana basically hijacked the scene with Leia arriving, so the reunion with Han wasn't quite as interesting as it could have been, or should have been, or even was. It's just all bad. So Rey is now captured by the First Order, and the other protagonists are now all in the same space. And that's basically where we've left off on. Finn and everyone is super worried about trying to go rescue Rey. Rey!
I was going to do it if you didn't.
Yeah. This is how you know Lily isn't a real Star Wars fan, if she doesn't reference this guy. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Man was on screen for 30 seconds and had more character than most people in the sequel trilogy.
Legitimately, it should have been Gwendolyn Christie's character. It should have been Phasma. Everyone knows
by
that.
the way, you know what also takes 30 seconds?
Put some respect on my boy Nines.
Whatever Gio's doing with his arm.
My boy is getting slaughtered over here.
Just because I'm muted doesn't mean I can't hear you.
Just because you're muted doesn't mean I don't know you're listening.
There's a button for that in Discord.
Happy Halloween season, by the way.
And happy Halloween. I wanted to preface this. I wanted to find a good scary story to read, or like a bad scary story to read, but I didn't have time to sort through like all the different bad scary stories and like to find.
I mean, reading a Lily Orchid fanfic is probably.
That's what I figure. Is that like this is the most terrifying thing anyone could do is actually reading anything by Lily Orchard. So we've already been we've been doing Spoopy Month for the last 3 weeks.
But you know what's not terrifying?
I mean, you could always reread Barbie/Dracula.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, we could.
The best scary stories.
You can read Stephen King's It.
All right.
No, not that one.
No, we will only read that one chapter of it. You know the
everybody. Despite the casualness, do remember the rules.
Yeah, I was about to bring it up.
Are the sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you for listening to the rules. No. So remember that I and Twilight are the priority speakers. If we are speaking, we expect you guys to be quiet. I understand we all like our comments, quips, jibes, and little bits of conversation, but we do want to keep a steady pace. We're looking at 9 pages here with Lily Orchard. That's a significant trudge. So, everyone just be mindful that we do want to keep a nice pace. If you feel like the conversation's dying out, let it die out. Unless you are absolutely 100% certain that what you're about to say is the funniest thing on the planet. All right, you gotta
like donate $1 or more to the Celtic Phoenix Patreon and gain access to the Thunder Discord server.
I hate and love you, man. I hate and love you. All right, let's get into
this. Is actually the hardest one for me to try to plug in.
We're on chapter 8. Stay back, Sith! Stop! Don't Sith me there. This is my private script. Anyway, chapter notes. 6/7/21. The chapter has been updated to slightly better reflect Finn's character, as well as better reflect Leia's hostility towards the Sith.
It was really important for this chapter to show that he was Force sensitive.
Yeah, Moopa, you say that like any of the chapter titles have actually been good. None of these chapter titles have been good. Anyway.
I actually haven't noticed any of the chapter titles until this moment.
Stay back, Sith sounds like a line from a Dora the Explorer and Star Wars crossover.
Oh my god!
Okay. Yeah, we're immediately.
Guys, stop.
No Sithing.
Finn. Well, I'm watching all of you. All right. Finn stepped off the Falcon in a daze as he looked around the Resistance base. It was small, but the entire compound teemed with energy as Resistance fighters ran back and forth carrying supplies and data pads to each individual building. He couldn't even tell which grass-covered bunker was which, as he followed the general flow of people. The last few hours, Lily, had been a complete daze, and he was still processing everything. Also, hi, Billy Donuts. I forgot to welcome you to the stream. We gotta make sure to highlight that. The First Order attack. Rey being kidnapped. Criff! Rey! She was in the heart of the First Order.
You can't say the K word.
Well, I'm just gonna have to be canceled. It's okay. Like I'm prepared for this. I'm a YouTuber. She was in the heart of the First Order base now, or in the heart of the First Order now at Kylo Ren's mercy. He almost forgotten on the flight there with everything else. How do you wait? Starkiller Base, the plans to destroy the Republic. It was all rushing past him, and he couldn't focus on anything. Even though this was the first time he thought to mention Starkiller at all in any of the prose. After almost 2 weeks of worrying and fretting over where he was going to go, it looked like the First Order had made the decision for him. Fear or no fear, he wasn't about to leave Rey on Starkiller Base to be tortured. Something struck his leg, and he followed to see BB-8 rolling past him towards one of the X-Wing fighters that had escorted them and towards the pilot getting out of the cockpit. That felt like a run-on sentence. As he got closer, he beeped happily at Poe Dameron, excited to see he was alive. Finn was wide-eyed at the sight. Acting entirely on reflex, he was running over to the two of them. Poe caught the motion from the corner of his eye, and upon looking up, realized who it was and began running towards him as well. Buddy! Buddy! He called out. Poe Dameron, you're alive? The two men collided with each other in a hug. Finn felt a simple...
No.
It could cut out man before it could get like further in.
Damn it!
Perfect.
Hey, screw Aliana X Rey. Poe X Finn.
I was gonna say like this was one of the best moments of the film. I genuinely felt the emotion behind these two. It's sad that they were both completely wasted. Anyway.
Lightning.
Thank you. Thank you, Lightning. God. Oh boy. The two men collided with each other in a hug. Finn felt a smile plastered on his face that was mirrored by Poe's. It's great to see ya, Poe exclaimed happily. I can't believe it, Finn responded. How? The crash? I don't know exactly. I woke up in a med bay, but then some droid put me back to sleep. When I came to, I was in a safe house out from Jakku, saying the Sith had brought me back, Poe explained. But BB-8 says that you saved him? Yeah, Rey and I found him on... Finn paused. Wait, you mean Aliana? She saved you? BB-8 let out a series of bewildered chirps, equally surprised. Is that her name? She wouldn't tell me. Poe shrugged, gently hitting Finn's shoulder. But you and... Who's Rey? You two saved BB-8? Rey was a scavenger we found on Jakku with BB-8, Finn explained. She came with us to Takodana, but Kylo Ren kidnapped her when the First Order attacked. We don't know what he wants with her, but we have to go get her. We have to get her back. Sorry, same thing. That's the girl the Sith mentioned, Poe recalled, though Omarosa hadn't actually given them names to go on. That's the girl that the Sith mentioned, Poe recalled, though Omarosa hadn't actually given them names to go on.
Huh?
That's a sentence.
Also, you already mentioned that Poe didn't know her name, so why would you mention it again? Unless you're like a bad writer or something.
That's the girl whose name I don't know that was mentioned by the Sith that I don't know. Okay, Pin,
Oh, boy.
Poe, Finn.
Actually, here's a third one. Didn't he also say that he was immediately put back under when he woke up in the medbay at first?
Yes.
So how does he even... So, like, how... So he woke up, was immediately put back under, apparently knows the Sith,
Okay. Poe wakes up. Poe wakes up, Aliana just leans down. I'm fucking Rey, and then puts him back under.
It's a forced message she left in his mind.
Okay.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Poe recalled the one who's strong in the Force? I think I know who you're talking about. Come with me. You need to talk to the General. Finn nodded and followed Poe's lead. Every step he took was one of conviction. Whatever happened, he knew that getting Rey back was important. He knew that Aliana would agree, given how hard she took losing her. Whatever plan they came up with, that had to be their priority. He glanced behind him to see Aliana slowly coming down her ship's exit ramp, clutching her sides and staring at the ground. Wait, she was shot in the shoulder, wasn't she? Not the side? Why should Gratchy?
The bullet traveled.
No.
I'm sure lasers work.
She's doing the pose where she's like, emo walk, where she's like holding her arm at the elbow.
No, she's doing the default injured, like she's at half health pose from a video game. She's like, yeah.
Or whatever they ate for lunch is finally coming back up.
I do with Aaron Black's X-ray from NKX.
I do love how Lily's solution to fixing the sequel series, is to basically make Rey a damsel in distress for her shitty ass lesbian character to go save all the time.
It's hilarious.
Ooh,
because it's
good
like,
eye, yeah.
We've been calling it out this entire time, but it's hilarious considering that like one of the chief complaints of the sequel trilogy is that Rey just kind of walks through every single problem she encounters, or is completely useless and doesn't do anything. Like, that's kind of the flip-flop of the character. It's not like she's competent and, like, struggles to do things. It's either one or the other. So it's like
she's ridden by a man or something. It's weird.
Oh, oof.
I don't...
That was too far, actually. I'll admit, that was too far.
Oh, what a rabbit hole that is.
I mean, at least Rey isn't a Mary Sue anymore. There's that.
Anyway, let us continue. Finn nodded he knew that Aliana would do whatever plan they came up with. He glanced behind him to see Aliana slowly coming out of her ship's exit ranch, clutching her sides and staring at the ground. Satisfied that she was coming at least, he turned back to follow Poe down into what looked like a large control room. The noise of everyone talking in different conversations at once made it hard to get a bearing on where he was going, so he kept his eyes focused on the back of Poe's head as he led him deeper inside the bunker to where the general was speaking with two other men. General Organa, Poe called out, gesturing to the other two. I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Finn. He needs to talk to you. Leia turned from the men she was speaking to face Finn and Poe. Approaching them, she put on a fond smile. "Hello, Finn. I'm glad we have a chance to finally meet. Captain Dameron has spoken very highly of you. That was a very brave thing you did, renouncing the First Order, saving this man's life." "Thank you, General, but it wasn't just me. There were 2 others." Finn responded politely, nodding his head. "And that's my problem. The First Order has kidnapped my friend." "Han told me about the girl." Leia nodded, recalling the aftermath of the Takodana assault. "We'll try to bring her back if we can." "But they took her alive," Finn stressed, "and Aliana believes that Rey is strong in the Force." Leia arched a brow at the unfamiliar name. "The Sith," Poe clarified. Something tightened in Leia's expression. Finn and Poe could see her tense considerably despite her efforts to remain poised. Poe had seen the General like this before, but only when she was especially worked up about something. A part of him could understand that, given that the Sith's reputation in the core worlds. However, he couldn't help but be surprised just how intensely it seemed to get to her. It was already clear that Aliana was on their side, wasn't it? "Right," Leia remarked. "That makes sense." Leia is just immediately us whenever we encounter any plot point in this. "Yeah, that makes sense."
It works best if you imagine the line coming out of someone who has smoked for most of their life and done crack for most of their life.
So we're not talking about Han.
No, we're talking about Carrie Fisher.
Exactly.
Oh
yeah. God, her appearance in was, I think, Scream 3. Really funny.
Oh, hilarious.
One of the only good parts of Scream 3.
I'm partial to her appearance in Blues Brothers.
Maybe I don't know. Or where is it? Poe turned his attention from Leia to Finn. "So, you think the First Order captured her for her connection to the Force?" "Maybe. I don't know," Finn admitted with a shameful shrug. "All I know is that she's not safe with them." "No shit, Sherlock!"
Congratulations, Finn. Do you have any other wise words you want to tell the class of 3-year-olds?
Sounds like
I'm pretty sure the First Order is well known for their hospitality. How well they treat their guests.
It's like a day
5
spa.
stars every time.
"You're right. She isn't," came Aliana's voice. Everyone turned around to see her running in. Running in? She was limping a minute ago. What the fuck? It's just like
Okay,
Aliana.
Here's my mental. Sorry.
Oh,
I was like, you know the running animation of that one guy from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball going towards the main character, the police officer guy.
I actually thought it would be kind of funnier if she was just there. Like, they turn around and it's like, okay, it's like, don't worry, you're right, she isn't. Everyone just turns like, oh shit, fuck, like that guy from the office.
Gotta get a bell on you.
Everyone turned around to see her running in, her eyes still red from her earlier bouts of crying, outside of being normally red because they're red eyes. She was still taking Rey's capture extremely personally and blaming herself for it. Despite the reassurances of both Finn and Han that she wasn't to blame, she still... You're posting... Guys, I can't... The GIFs won't move because I'm not clicked on it. And there we go. I like Ravenwood's one is better. I imagine that's how she runs.
Yeah, that one works. That one works completely.
Especially when she's injured. I just imagine like blood just like dribbling out of her shoulder.
I'm imagining Phoebe's run.
Anyway, yeah. She couldn't stop wondering if she led someone else to die at her expense. There is no doubt that Jedi had sensed her strength in the Force, she explained. Rey lights up like a landing zone. Even a basic Padawan like Kylo Ren could sense it. Maybe don't go after a girl who you're equating to a landing zone. Like I don't know.
I mean, she wants to land on her, if you know what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna say my brain is going to that one Family Guy quote or like cutaway gag where Brian's like, I don't know, I think I'm getting mixed signals from her, and it cuts to the girl in bed with like a guy from an airport with the little like light up sticks, like waving him in with a bunch of lights leading him right to her open legs. It's just like, that's what I'm imagining your description of Rey is like. Aliana, she's for the streets. Are they still streets if they're just sand? Anyway,
she's for the dunes.
She's for the dunes.
For the dunes, did she arrive to the spice in which she remains?
So she's like really powerful, Finn grimaced. Unnaturally powerful, Aliana explained. There's something going on besides just an exceptional Force user, but I'm not certain what. No doubt they're trying to turn her into a weapon at this very moment. Will that power help protect her? Poe inquired. I mean, I'm not sure quite how the Force works, but I feel like it should at least give her a fighting chance. It's not enough to simply have the Force, Commander Dameron, Leia chided. You must understand how to use it. Otherwise, you'll fall prey to the dark side, and those who use it. She accentuated that point by glaring warily at Aliana. Okay, so Rey's in a vulnerable position, Poe nodded. And we need to get her out of there, Aliana explained. Well, I doubt Kylo Ren could do much. The Dark Jedi who trains him could do a lot to hurt Rey. We can't let that happen. Okay, all right. I can understand wanting to call Kylo Ren a Dark Jedi or some bullshit like that. I don't agree with it, but I understand. You cannot in your right mind call that fucking wrinkled testicle of a boss he has anything other than a Sith. Okay?
Circus?
Yeah.
Also throwing this out there, there's nothing that Kylo can do to her. Kylo, who is about to put her into a torture chamber, who has a lightsaber, who can just like cut her head off right now. Yeah, he can't do anything.
And you know what that deserves?
It's but a scratch.
Indeed.
God, I forgot we had that.
I mean, we could call Snoke something. We could call him an asshole.
It's what he looks like.
I've already called him a wrinkly testicle.
Oh, y'all went for the back door.
Yeah, that's who plays him anyway.
Anyway, do you know where they might have taken her? Leia asked. Finn nodded. Starkiller Base. It's a hyper lightspeed weapon built into the side of Ilum. It can destroy an entire star system in one shot. Leia, Poe, and a few other people around them all suddenly bore looks of horror at Finn's words. There was a general air of unease surrounding the room and murmurs of panic from a few stragglers who had overheard. What did you just say? Leia asked. She'd heard it, but she couldn't believe it. It's a planet-sized superweapon that they've been working on in secret for years, Finn said. It's intended to usher the First Order's rise to power with a show of force that could eclipse the Death Star. Okay.
Charles, you should have mentioned that. Super fucking casual about this.
I was gonna say, like, Finn, maybe bring that up immediately. Like,
read the paper? Okay, I both love and hate to say this, but this was done so much better in the movie since Starkiller was the primary objective, not rescuing Rey. What is Rey to the Resistance? Just some girl. Finn just took us as an excuse to tag along to save her.
All right, in defense, I can't believe I'm fucking saying this. In defense of Lily's writing here, you do have a Sith, confirmed really skilled Force user, who has come in and say, hey, by the way, this girl, like, unnaturally powerful in the Force. Like, holy shit. We have untold levels of potential here. They could be turning her into a weapon. So,
since the Chosen One.
I was going to say, if they're willing to rely on the words of someone who is part of a cult that expertises in lying and bullshitting, and they trust it, I could understand them at least having similar priority, though I would probably still prioritize the thing that can destroy multiple planets simultaneously, if I'm being completely honest here.
One thing can potentially destroy trillions of people over a long periods of time. One can destroy trillions of people within 5 minutes.
Somehow.
I mean, you're forgetting one key thing here. She's the OC's love interest, and thus obviously the most important thing in the universe.
Oh yeah, no, that's that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, Teddy Bear Paladin, you're 100% correct. I'm sorry for doubting you.
Yes, exactly.
You fool.
All right, so, Criff. Poe cursed. I'm gonna get canceled, Poe. Poe cursed, a cold bead of sweat trickling down the side of his head. Leia grabbed another Resistance member by the arm. Get a reconnaissance flight out to Ilum and bring me back as much information about that weapon as possibly can. Billions of lives are now at stake. This only means we need to get to Ilium as fast as possible, Alion added. That weapon needs to be destroyed, and Rey needs to be retrieved. See, this is where, like, immediately I'm like, okay, if this were genuinely a Sith, what would their first priority be? Obviously, they want to recover the person that they are in love with, or whatever. I get that. That's actually kind of fine. It's an impulsive thing to do. But if I were a Sith and I suddenly learned, hey, there's a massive planet in space that can destroy entire solar systems simultaneously.
I shake the hand of the guy that made it.
I kind of want to be in charge of that. So my main goal would be, how do I take this thing over and get all these dupes to do it for me?
Could you imagine, like, after what they say, LA is like dibs?
Exactly.
Dibs.
And they let her do
dibs
it.
Out of nowhere. Like, why do you say that?
We need to know everything we can about it first, Leia said. How close it is to completion, how heavily guarded it is. If we try flying in blind, we'll only cause more problems. I can give you specifics, Finn insisted, stepping forward. I've been stationed on that base before. I know its inner workings. You can work with our engineers while the ships are out scouting, Leia nodded as she started directing everyone. Poe, get your squad out immediately. Han, I need all the sensor data from the Falcon. Finn, get over here with Paige. She'll take down everything you say. The three of them nodded and moved to carry out Leia's orders. Poe was the only one to look at Aliana. What are you going to do during all this? He asked. This sounds like a good time as any to have a Sith on our side. I'll be on the ground when it's time to assault, Aliana assured him. Ignore that you actually have a sizable spaceship that could be crewed by an entire, like, team of people and have actual fighting capability. Never mind. Aliana assured him. Until then, I'll just have to wait. My lightsaber isn't much good from space, but your spaceship is! Your spaceship is good from space! Aliana!
Okay, first off, I'm so sorry, Celtic, but I have to ask. A spaceship is good in space? I never knew.
Jesus, Raymond, that was
fly
genuine vitriol right there.
Well, you have to understand, if the Lord and Savior, the greatest person in the entire universe, Aliana, doesn't know that her spaceship is good in space, how could we, simple plebs?
No, you know what? I was going to say, simply speaking, it just means that it obviously isn't useful in space. And so we're just wrong. Like, Aliana is always right. We know that.
Of course. Exactly.
Ugh. Fair enough, Poe nodded, nearly about to utter a farewell before he noted the look on Aliana's face. Nervousness she was trying her best to conceal, but was seeping through nonetheless. That's a sentence fragment. He placed a hand on her shoulder, prompting her to meet his eyes. You gonna be okay? Yeah, she said. Yeah, she said, brushing his hand off her shoulder and schooling her features even harder. Friendly or not, this was not a safe place for her to come undone. Please don't touch me. We're not that close. You are so not fetch. Oh, my bad, Poe said apologetically, placing his hand back on his side. Well, the scouts and I will be back soon with what we find. Shouldn't be too hard to get in and out as long as we're quick. Hey, look, that's what she thought about Rey, but that didn't turn out, okay? Shouldn't be too hard to get to do. He studied her for a moment longer, watching her response to his words, carefully before adding, we'll get her back. Aliana couldn't help the weak smile that broke out on her lips. Thank you. How close are we to... Okay.
And lightning comes back with a greatness.
Fastest memer in the West.
Yes. Absolutely. Switch over my drinks.
Are you drinking water or some soda tonight?
Well, I just finished drinking my soda, and now I'm swapping over to a nice cold bottle of water.
Good.
Yes.
Drink water.
Water squad.
All right.
I need to drink more water.
Rey bolted back into consciousness and tried to sit upright, only to realize that she couldn't get very far. She glanced down at her hands and feet to see that she was fastened to what looked like an examination table, tilted at an angle. She looked up and almost screamed at the sight of the masked figure standing in front of her. Just imagine she gives like a Kinger scream. Where am I? She demanded. You're in my custody, Kylo Ren answered, the deep distortion of his mask echoing slightly throughout the room. That's all you need to know. He stepped closer to the table Rey was strapped to. What I need to know is where the map to Skywalker is, and what your master's plans are. Tell me, or this gets bad for you. I don't know what master you're talking about, Rey glared up at him, her hands shaking in fear. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell some creature in a mask. That's not a good... That just confirms you wouldn't tell... No, you're a fucking idiot, Rey. Anyway.
Well, we already knew that, so...
Yeah. Kylo was silent for a moment before he lifted both hands to the side of his helmet. The mouthpiece of the mask extended outward slightly, allowing him to remove his helmet. The unmasking revealed the face of a human, skin and almost sickly pale and irises almost as dark as his black hair. He was an incredibly sexy bastard. He looked almost like Adam Driver. Rey's only thought was that Aliana had been right. Grease stain was the perfect word to describe him. I mean, you're not wrong, but kind of a dick description.
Adam Driver.
Does that remind you of
very weird
anyone?
Francis Ford Coppola movie?
Does that remind you of anyone, Lily? Hitting a bit close to home, does it?
Ooh.
Grease stain. What is that a reference to? Twilight?
No, seriously, I don't know. Like, I'm still at the 40-minute mark in that documentary because I've been watching other things, so I just need to.
You sweet summer child.
It's just because
Wait, it's a reference to something.
greasy.
Wait a minute, it's a reference to something. She's not just talking about Grease.
Oh.
No, I think it's an indirect reference. There's like a documentary about on YouTube about Lily Orchard. I think it's been posted here before, but
go watch that.
Yeah.
I was basically just saying, because I said it last time, that I'm pretty sure that she hates him so much because she recognizes a lot of herself and her past self in him.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
right.
you know what? Yeah. Oh.
Poetic, huh?
Anyway.
Adam Driver or Kylo Ren?
Kylo Ren. Adam Driver's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway. You are right to be... Oh, sorry, he's not in his mask anymore. You're right to be scared, Kylo said plainly. I'm more powerful than you could possibly imagine. It was then that he extended a gloved hand, reaching out with the Force and touching Rey's mind. Tell me, did it hurt? Sorry, couldn't resist. Immediately, Rey felt something force its way into her mind. At first, it hurt. It did hurt! It did hurt! Confirmed!
Does it hurt?
Does it hurt?
Confirmed, does Force is hurt?
Yes, but keep going.
But then she felt an agony like no other as she felt this invasive force burrow into her thoughts and open every door it possibly could. She could feel her mind being drained of as much information as possible as the Dark Jedi recklessly rifled through every single thought, memory, and fleeting feeling she had ever had in her life. Wow, Lily is projecting like hard onto this guy. This is how I feel every time I hear more about Lily.
Yeah.
You ate sand?
I told you.
Oh. I can see them. Oh, sorry. I can see them, she heard him say. The traitor
he doesn't have
and
the mask
Sith.
on.
No, I'm not cupping my hands over my mouth. I'm just doing an Adam Driver impression.
Oh.
Yeah. I can see them. She heard him say, the traitor and the Sith. You're afraid the traitor will leave and that you'll never see him again. And the Sith is conflicted. I can see her affection, anger, and betrayal. You don't know how to feel about her anymore. Get out of my head! Get out of my head! Rey said through gritted teeth.
Akira.
She hated how close to a whimper she sounded just then. She hated feeling so vulnerable in front of this creature. Adam Driver is la creature. She hated how she winced every time he pushed his power further into the cracks in her mind.
He is a creature of perfection.
I see the old smuggler, he said, a hint of disdain in his voice. You looked upon him fondly, saw something of a father in him. He would have disappointed you. He could never replace the parents who abandoned you. Shut up! She shouted. Kylo Ren backed away from her and circled around the table. I know you've seen the map, and I know you know what the Sith's plans are. I haven't seen either, Rey hissed, trying to hold back tears. I didn't even know she was a Sith. A likely story. And now you'll give me what I want, he said, reaching his hand out again.
If you could see into her mind, then you should be able to figure that out for yourself.
No, Twy, you have to understand. Kylo Ren's an idiot.
Of course, because he's being written by Lily Orchard.
Exactly.
I mean, I would argue he was being written by the people that
Shush,
wrote
Raymond.
Anyway,
you don't need to rag on the show every single time. We get it. You have a complex. Let's move on.
What is the context there?
I literally just make cracks at the entire sequel trilogy constantly because I think it's funny.
Wow, is this how it feels when other people get shushed?
Oh,
you know, it should be alarming to you that you're surprised that that's how it feels. Anyway.
I mean, he is a veteran of it. Anyway.
A likely story. Rey felt the Force burrow into her mind again and squeezed her eyes shut, trying hard to clamp down on her mind and keep him out. Then she briefly remembered Aliana suggesting that she was Force sensitive. Okay, she dismissed it, but she was a Sith. She would know. I'm glad your confidence only turns up now. She turned her head back and looked Kylo Ren in the eye. I'm not giving you anything, she said, trying in her mind to reverse engineer what he was doing to her like she did the starship's components. Her mind focused on that idea, picturing this connection of their minds as some sort of device, something that could be created, destroyed, or reverse engineered. Almost instantly, it began to work. Every surge of his power was met with a dampener. Every crack he attempted to invade was covered in encasing. She saw as Kylo's expression gradually became one of struggling. He pushed harder and harder, but now she understood. She could practically see the power between this connection course through the circuitry, and now she could reverse the flow of power. Okay, you know what? I kind of like this.
Same.
I kind of hate that I have to admit, because partly I don't think she'd be figuring it out this quickly, but it is an interesting take on how she understands the mechanics of the Force. And I appreciate that, there is a distinction there. There's actually something interesting to be said here.
Oh my god, characterization. Whoa.
You know what to say about broken glass?
Can I say something real quick?
No.
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 Sorry about
We all jumped on that. Holy crap.
Taking a gambit, she began peering into his mind. Immediately, she saw something. An image as clear before her as this grease ball of a man. You really fucking hate this guy. A black dais supporting a ruined, tattered ash-white helmet. She knew to whom that destroyed mask belonged to, and she could feel all the emotions he felt towards it. You're afraid, she said plainly. She pushed harder and could see Aliana's face, glaring dismissively as she held his lightsaber arm aloft. This was a memory she had actually seen. A little further, and she could see a twisted monstrosity of a man glaring down and talking about what a failure he was. You're afraid that you'll never be as strong as Darth Vader. That you'll be replaced. That Amoroso will kill you. Kylo Ren stepped back, severing the connection. He was visibly shaken, withdrawn hand brought back and trembling. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. She was supposed to helplessly give him the information he needed. He would have coaxed and molded her into his personal puppet. He would use her to destroy the Sith. This wasn't right. He walked around the table and exited the room without another word, walking quickly through the halls to put more distance between her and him. And why this is what we'll swap off.
Oh, damn.
God,
The grease has failed Kylo Ren.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, we just saw what happens when Kylo gets put in his place as the bottom.
You know, in Harry Potter and Order to Phoenix, when Snape was doing the whole mind invasion thing to Harry Potter, that was a little bit, you know, that's like some
Alpha.
Fine.
Alpha.
I'm taking this grease train and running with it right away.
Demonstration of the picture I posted.
The reconnaissance flight confirmed Finn's report, Poe explained as the entire resistance stood around the holo terminal. Starkiller Base is active and the weapon is charging as we speak. There was a quiet murmur among the crowd before Admiral Akbar spoke up. How is it possible to power a weapon of that size? It uses the power of the sun, Finn explained, highlighting the hydrogen processor on the northern pole of the planet. As the weapon is charged, the sun is drained. What's the range of that thing? What's the maximum output? A distressed resistance fighter asked. Depends on how long they decide to charge it, Finn continued. A full charge could wipe out the Hosnian system in a single barrage.
I just realized, are they going to fucking stop the firing of Starkiller Base?
That'd be cool.
Possibly.
Can I ask something? This is something that's always confused me about Starkiller. How many suns is it orbiting around? Because wouldn't it
can move, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it can hyperspace.
Yeah, it moves to different suns.
How does everyone on the planet not die when it absorbs the sun? Because now there's nothing keeping them warm, and it's all dark and stuff.
They move to a different sun.
Well, there is a thing called indoors. They have that on Starkiller Base. I don't know if you've noticed that. As long as they have power on the base is operational and life support.
I think what he means is the
solar power
outside.
Oh, they just travel, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably an artificial.
Let's get back.
Let's continue. Guys, remember conversations to a minimum. I don't know how many times we have to remind you guys. Did Recon give us any intel on how we can destroy it? Poe asked. There's got to be a way to knock it out. For the weapon to contain that much power, there must be some kind of thermal oscillator, one commander suggested. Right here, Finn said, pointing to the holo diagram. Precinct 47 here. The holo terminal highlighted a device that ran down deep into the core of the planet. If we can destroy that oscillator, it might destabilize the core and cripple the weapon, the commander continued. Maybe even the planet. We go in there, we hit the oscillator with everything we've got. Poe nodded. But the only problem is the planetary shields. Fighters can't get through the barricades that strong. Then we'll disable the shields, Han said, looking at Finn. You worked there. What do you got? Finn bit his lip as his brain racked for an idea. I used to do maintenance in that precinct. I know the layout. If we can land on the planet without being detected, I can get us inside. All right, then, Leia said. We'll have a ground team to disable the shields and strike team to blow that weapon to hell after we do. Sounds familiar, Han said with a cheeky grin. There's just one snag, the commander, who mentioned the oscillator, spoke up, hitting a few buttons on the holo terminal. Starkiller Base was instead replaced by a holo image of Kylo Ren. According to Recon, there's a hostile Jedi Padawan on the station. If he senses either of you at that point, this entire mission goes up in smoke. And even a Padawan is still deadly.
Why are you calling him a Padawan? He's, like, fully fledged Force user at this point. He murdered the entire school!
You gotta nerf somebody.
Unironically,
he murdered the entire school, which means he never
graduated
to Jedi Knight. He's
actually that was Snoke that destroyed the school.
We were told it was Kylo anyway.
He never got that promotion.
You don't graduate by killing the class.
We know the real reason why she's calling him a Padawan. It's to make him as infantile as she possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how she's gonna emasculate our boy next.
I can deal with that. I can deal with that. Aliana spoke up, drawing the attention of everyone in the room. There's an old Sith technique to cloak a small ship in the dark side of the Force. It'll make the Falcon virtually undetectable to anyone except a Sith of Anakin Skywalker's strength. Once we're inside, I can kill the Jedi while Finn and Han disable the shields.
So Anakin Skywalker is a Sith.
Apparently.
I'm sorry, you're just pulling this magic power out of your ass. Force cloaking, I guess.
It's real. It's real.
That is a real thing, but it's something that any Jedi can do.
It's
anyone can do that.
Okay. All right.
It's still stupid.
Yeah, but the Sith-specific technique probably isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is. How do you think Palpatine was able to be in a room with a bunch of Jedi and then not sense his
Okay. All right.
Different.
Can you please stop? You don't need to correct and be so pedantic. We are trying to read a fan fiction, not have a conversation. This isn't regular voice chat night. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys over and over and over again. Leia frowned at that. This is an extraction and sabotage mission, she said firmly. Do not confront Kylo Ren unless you have no other choice. It will only complicate matters. Aliana narrowed her eyes at Leia. It won't be a matter of choice. The Jedi is the only truly dangerous element on the base. You won't let his prey go easily. Finding Rey means finding him. Leia looked far from convinced. Rather, she simply looked irritated. Destroying that weapon is the highest priority of this mission, Lord Amorosa, she said with a slight huff. I am willing to amend the plan to help you extract your friend, but not your bloodlust for Jedi. Focused on what is actually important. Bloodlust? Aliana balked. That man attacked my friends. He practically leads the First Order. The hell are you talking about bloodlust? If you can't abide by these conditions, then best you be on your way, Sith, Leia sneered, folding her arms. I'm risking enough by letting you be here. Perhaps you should remember whose base you're currently on before you start kicking up a stink. Aliana glanced at Finn. You're seeing this too, right? Finn nodded before speaking up. General, if we have a chance to take out a high-ranking member of the First Order, we should take it. We're trying to take out a hyper-lightspeed superweapon as well, Leia countered. If we have to choose between taking out one or the other, I would go with the one that is currently at risk of destroying entire star systems. Kylo Ren is not the priority here. Get in, get your friend, shut down the shields, get out. Stick to the plan. I don't see why this is hard.
We need to make sure he's alive for the next parts of the story.
Well, I mean, weirdly enough, I kind of do like parts of the subtlety here because, of course, she's going to be a bit annoyed. One, Aliana's a Sith, and two, that's her son.
Yeah, no, I'm actually on board with Leia's characterization so far. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
And anyone that hates Aliana is great. So.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm annoyed at here is Aliana because she picks that up right away.
Yep.
With all due respect, General, one technician spoke up. Amorosa was specifically talking about distracting and dispatching Kylo Ren long enough for everyone else to do their jobs. Leia blinked, turning her head to scowl at the technician, but offering no verbal retort. A moment later, she turned her attention to Han, her gaze expectant. Han grimaced slightly before speaking up. If we're going to have a chance to pull this off, we're going to have to be flexible, he said with a slight shrug. If Ren is there, we'll deal with him. If not, we just worry about Rey and the shields.
Han, I've seen Harrison Ford act these days. Anything but flexible. Just putting that out there.
Ouch.
Aliana nodded in agreement. My thoughts exactly. Leia's mouth became a thin line, clearly perturbed by the idea, but unable to voice why without derailing the entire briefing. Very well, she said. Darth Amoroso will join Han and Finn planetside. Any other questions? Everyone looked around the room, seeing no other questions, comments, or concerns being raised. Then we move. Now, Leia said. May the Force be with us all. Everyone broke apart and headed for their individual stations. Han and Finn turned away for the Falcon, and Aliana moved to follow her when a hand reached out and seized her by the arm, yanking her back. Aliana felt an initial surge of panic, and her hand darted to her lightsaber before she realized it was Leia, glaring at her. Sentence fragments. Her hand stayed on her lightsaber. Yes? Let us get one thing straight here, Sith.
Well, we're already well past that point. Just, all right, you're not getting anything straight out of Aliana.
If you are hoping to operate with the Resistance, you should know better than to question my authority in the middle of an assembly like this. If you can't handle that, then you shouldn't be here. Aliana yanked her arm out of Leia's grip. Let's get one thing straight here, Jedi. The First Order took my friend. I'm going to get her back no matter what it takes. So your authority doesn't mean anything to me. I don't take orders from you. I'm here because circumstances forced me to be here. Had Rey not been captured, I'd have given you your damn droid, taken my friends, and been on my way. But that didn't happen. So until I have her back, you're stuck with me whether you like it or not. I assure you, I do not like the idea of delivering this girl into the hands of a Sith one little bit. Leia bit back. And if you think I'm going to help this girl escape the First Order just so that you can make a weapon of her instead, you have another thing coming. Aliana was positively disgusted. This Jedi was swinging for her out of the gate, just like her brother.
Huh?
That's... Oh. What does that even mean?
She has a brother?
Luke?
Being charitable, it's like... I suppose it's like, oh, obviously Leia is not giving her any like wiggle room, or like is obviously antagonistic to her, just like Luke was. But like, yeah, no shit. Why is that like a new observation? We knew that you knew that Leia was antagonistic to you. Like, why were you disgusted? Like, and if I think you're gonna have this girl escape.
Because Jedi poo-poo stinky.
Yeah, and also, hey, Sith kind of have a bad habit of doing that. Let us not forget what happened to Let us not forget what happened to Leia's father now, shall we? The man that was indoctrinated by a wise older mentor figure that basically he trusted and led him down a dark path and turned him into a horrible, monstrous killing machine. Also, Leia, you go fuck yourself. If someone challenges your authority in a meeting, make sure it's not because you're having a bad plan, all right? Like, you can't just say, don't challenge my authority. You should be like, hey, next time you challenge my authority, have a good plan. Like, that should probably be the approach.
Yeah, she was very tyrannical with that statement.
Probably where Holdo gets it from.
Let's not forget, that's not just a Force-sensitive out there, Jedi. That's my friend. That's someone I care very deeply for. So back off before I make you. You don't have to keep reiterating that she's your friend.
Also, like, you could really just pull your arm away. This is a grandma. Look, I don't care. She
already did.
I was gonna say, like, I don't care.
She already did.
I don't care how like well trained Carrie Fisher is. A young person is going to be able to walk away and just like, I'm just not going to listen to you. I don't need you to back off. I'm just going to leave.
Aliana verbally bullies the elder.
But then we can't have a bitchy cat fight.
Right. Aliana verbally bullies the elderly, confirmed.
Curse Knight says, I need to ask, what's with the popcorn getup? It's my costume. It's Halloween costume, Curse Knight.
It's Halloween. Well, where have you been this entire time?
And
you don't know what a Halloween costume is.
It's KFC.
Antarctica?
also throwing this out there, we are 0 streams since Caltic has been asked what's with the popcorn bucket.
I haven't really. Have I been asked every single stream since I put it on?
Yes.
Yes.
You have.
I haven't been keeping track of that.
I do. It's for the joke.
That was a popcorn bucket? I thought it was a thing for KFC.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a KFC
it's
bucket.
a KFC bucket.
Kentucky Fried Celtic.
I'm pretty sure that some people just don't listen, because I'm fairly certain that there are people that have been in the chat and then, like, next week ask about it.
Yep.
As though they hadn't heard about it.
And next week, I know someone's going to ask me during the Jacked stream.
Oh, of course.
Yep. Alright. Leia scoffed, rolling her eyes. Save the melodrama for someone who will buy it, she said dismissively. You're only here because you stand to serve our cause. Not because I actually believe the slag coming out of your despicable mouth. Whatever this girl's deal is, she deserves better than to have her life utterly ruined by some half-baked Sith. She'd be better off dying to Ilum than she'd be with you.
Damn.
Ooh.
Jesus Christ. Leia, you know nothing about Aliana. Like, I mean, like...
she knows that she's a Sith.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, evidently, no one even knows what a fucking Sith is anymore in Lily's universe. Because evidently Sith aren't what they've been portrayed to be in the actual series. It's just Lily... It's just someone that apparently can do, like, Force lightning shit.
To be fair, it's not very well known what the public perception of Sith are after the prequels, so...
Counterpoint? Counterpoint?
Continuing. That was not an instance to go.
Curse Knight says, to be fair, I wouldn't guess being dinner was a costume. It is a bird. There are different routes you can take, and birds get eaten. I'm just a very spicy meal.
Lily says Jedi poo-poo stinky, therefore you should agree.
Yes.
Yeah, I still am not, like, even after watching Lily's videos on Star Wars, and the Sith specifically, I still don't quite understand what is a Sith and what is a Dark Jedi in her mind, because it seems very arbitrary. We know from the lore that the Sith were originally a race of people, and then it became just anyone who was a Lord of the Dark Force, but then that can be conditional, and she seems to be playing very fast and loose with that, depending on whether or not she even likes the character. So, it's all bullshit.
Well, how come this...
Aliana balked at the sheer amount of vitriol Organa was speaking. She expected to encounter suspicion given her alignment, but this was on a whole different level than she was used to. It actually hurt. What the hell is up with your ass? I know better than to trust the Sith, Leia said matter-of-factly. You may have convinced the others that you're not a threat, but I won't be suckered in that easily. It's not about trust, Jedi, Aliana scowled. I got Rey into this mess. I'm getting her out. Before Leia could respond, Han stuck his hand out into the war room, beckoning up to Aliana. Kid, come on. We're prepped to leave. We're just waiting on you. You want to save your girl or what? Aliana blushed. Ew, don't say she's my girl. Aliana turned to look back at Han, then back at Leia. There is more that she wanted to say.
Your man is not Han. Sorry.
There is more that she wanted to say to this self-important has-been politician. Much, much more. What is your deal with hating Leia, Lily?
What did Leia do to you?
Yeah.
She's a poo-poo stinky Jedi.
Give birth to one half of the Reylo ship.
She poisoned our water supply, burned our crops, and delivered a plague onto our houses.
Yeah, but by that logic, she should also hate Han just as much. But no, it's only the woman that gets shit upon.
Maybe like Kylo, she's self-projecting. Only this Gates is like someone else in her life.
Look,
Perhaps.
all I'm saying
I
is
think
that I would love to just shove Lily into Silent Hill to see what kind of game gets produced. That's all I'm saying.
I
Oh,
don't
God.
actually.
I don't. Yeah, I don't
No.
know if that's the play, man.
I think Lily just. I think Lily just has a hate boner for Jedi.
Guys, now hear me out. Do you think she would actually get one of the good endings?
No.
There's multiple endings.
No.
Here's the
Okay,
plan.
so what's the
we
problem?
shove her into a TV, and then we Persona 4 her, so we understand what her true self really is.
I was gonna say that's the Silent Hill method, but just faster, and I kind of like to draw it out. Anyway.
Hey, both of them involve fog. Both the Persona 4 and the Silent
Fair.
Hill method involve fog.
He's right, you know.
But Rey took priority. I'm coming, she said, making her way to door after Han.
Huh? Yes, I know sentence.
Just the door. I don't.
Ayano is such in a rush. She's cutting out words.
Yeah.
Why use many word when few word do trick?
She didn't give Leia a single word of farewell. She didn't owe her one. As the two of them made their way out toward the hangars, Poe ran up alongside them and smiled to Aliana. I just want to thank you in person for saving me, Finn and BB-8, he said. You helped me salvage my mission, and we'd be sitting ducks if it weren't for you. If it wasn't for you. Sorry, I was doing proper English there, my bad.
How dare you?
There's no thanks necessary, Captain Dameron. Aliana shook her head. I was the one who screwed it up in the first place. I was just correcting my mistake. And now I'm about to go correct two more. She nodded to Poe and turned to continue when she stopped and an idea came to her. Why?
One day we will have. Okay, I'm not even going to finish that sentence actually, because much like Lily, I will. I can't finish my sentences.
You are about to equate yourself in some way, shape, or form to Lily, and that scares the fuck out of me.
Exactly, it scares the fuck out of me too.
Stop it! I know nothing. Get some help.
I am getting help.
Captain, you're a good pilot, right? Poe turned to look at Aliana again. I'm definitely a fast pilot, he replied. Why do you ask? There's a Sith warship sitting on the eastern docking bay, Aliana explained. It has a lot of heavy weapons on board. Guns, turbo lasers, missiles, the whole damn party. If you can fly it, it'll make blasting that planet a hell of a lot easier.
Oh my god, he's actually doing it. Okay, alright.
Yeah, fine, yeah, okay.
Poe's eyes widened in surprise. You want me to fly your ship on the strike mission? Who better to do so than the captain? Aliana asked with an easy smile. Besides, the First Order is so desperate to replicate the glory of the Empire. Destroying their plans in with a relic of the era they idolize has a certain poetic justice to it, wouldn't you say? And
they idolize the Galactic Empire. Your ship's from the Sith Empire.
It's completely different empires, like literally thousands of years apart. What the fuck are you talking about, Aliana?
An almost wicked grin spread across Poe's face. Absolutely, Lord Amorosa. Aliana nodded. Good. May the Force serve you well, Captain.
Poe was then killed on the mission because he was completely unfamiliar with the control scheme of Aliana's ship.
Oh no, her ship's got a manual gear drive.
I can't work the clutch.
Guess I'll die.
In the distance, Aliana thought, shit, I should have asked if he could drive stick.
I should really learn to drive stick just because I think it'd be a useful thing to know.
You should. It's actually not that hard, all things being equal. It's more getting used to it more than anything.
Whoa, shit.
Once you get the rhythm down, you're fine.
Okay.
What?
One more section to go before we call it.
Woo.
All right.
Yeah.
Yet again, you come before me a failure, Snoke said as he looked down at Kylo Ren. You couldn't even break into the mind of a girl with no training in the Force. A girl so distracted she couldn't tell her companion was a Sith. What a waste of blood you are.
No wonder your daddy left you.
The Force is strong with her, Ren said in an attempt to defend himself. The Sith, she must have prepared her mind for this without anyone knowing. Weaponized her somehow. I can still get the information we need. I can still turn her to our cause. I just need more time. Time is something we don't have, Hux interrupted before turning his attention to Snoke. Supreme Leader, our scouts reported resistance activity near the planet. A reconnaissance force. It seems they know about Starkiller Base and its capabilities now. Hux tilted his head in Kylo's direction and sneered, as if someone had led them here. It was the traitor, FN 2187, Kylo Ren growled. Snoke rolled his eyes. How long until the weapon is charged? 6 hours at most, Supreme Leader, Hux said, nervous at how this would anger Snoke. I find it really interesting that apparently, according to the writing, everyone pretty much barely tolerates Kylo Ren, and yet they still keep him in a position of power.
Look, there were reasons, like, as much as I bash on the sequel trilogy, there were genuine reasons, and he was given a lot of respect. She's taking it's one actually the biggest problems with The Last Jedi in terms of consistency, is that Snoke suddenly doesn't respect Kylo Ren whatsoever, even though, like, one of the last things he said was, hey, come back to me, we're going to complete your training, and then no training gets done, and instead Snoke just starts insulting the fuck out of Kylo. It's like, wait, what the fuck? You're a completely different character from the last time we saw you. What's going on here? She's just, I mean, I'll give her kudos. She's choosing a Snoke and being consistent with it, but now the problem is, why the fuck did anyone care about Kylo in the first place? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, that is ultimately the problem, is that by doing this, you are undermining him as a force to be reckoned with, and thus kind of putting the entire Empire or the First Order down in terms of intelligence, and, like, why they're even a threat in the first place. Because they are just that incompetent.
It's like
apparently Kylo is effective 99% of the times when he's not facing off against the protagonist.
It's kind of
when
like
he's not facing off against a Mary Sue, yeah.
Burning entire villages, that's fine. Facing off against a self-insert, nah.
It's kind of the inverse of Darth Vader, where Darth Vader never really lost until the last movie, so, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
fortify the weapon's defenses and prepare for an assault, Snoke ordered.
Snork.
Snork.
Come along with the snorks.
From this point...
Can we just call him Snork from now on?
Yes, it's official.
From this point on, you are in command of Starkiller Base, General Hux. Now leave me to deal with this failure. Thank you, Supreme Leader, Hux said with a bow. I won't let you down. With that, the Admiral turned on his heels and left the room. Kylo was left alone with the projected image of Snoke looming over him. Even as a hologram being sent from light years away, he felt helpless under his master's gaze. You have failed at every stage of this mission, Snoke said plainly. All because you refuse to acknowledge the Sith as your superior. She will come for the girl, you know. Your slight against her will be answered for in your blood. If you fall before her and this entire operation... You will fall before her, and this entire operation will crumble and burn as a result of your incompetence. The Supreme Leader all but roared at Kylo as he continued. I'm sending your fellow knights to deal with the Sith, while you finish what you started and take care of the girl. You will not engage the Sith when she arrives, is that clear? Kylo Ren looked up at Snoke, his hand twitching with rage. Yes, Supreme Leader. Snoke knew that Ren had absolutely no intention of listening to him, but at the very least the Sith could be taken care of, even if Ren was killed in the process. He shut off the holo terminal and left Kylo Ren alone in the cavern. He was going to be in need of a new apprentice soon, and this girl would be the ideal candidate. Kylo Ren turned and walked back out of the cavern. A plan of action slowly but surely formed in his mind, but the first order of business was dealing with the girl. Being humiliated by the Sith was one thing, but this scavenging nobody was not going to get the better of him. This, he swore.
Yeah, it could have been a good chapter break right here. Why wasn't it?
Yeah.
Big enough chapters.
Yeah, well, we are at the end.
That's why I complained. That's why I complained at the beginning of this. Like, why you don't need, like, chapter breaks are there for a reason. You don't need to just make chapters fucking arbitrary.
Yeah, what's great is, like, with this, you could split this in two. It's roughly the same length, so you have a consistency in chapter length. You can actually, like, if you wrote this out and said, oh no, I can split the chapter here, you can upload and have a more regular upload schedule. It's kind of nice. You have an actual, like, you have a regular upload schedule. You have fans that can start looking forward to your work and actually get on a thing. Not that I know anything about regular upload schedules. I'm kind of terrible at that nowadays.
I was about to comment on that.
Look, I'm saying it's a good idea. I'm not saying... I'm
do as I say, not as I do.
Say it's a good idea, not that I'm very good at it. Although, hey, you know what? 2 regular streams a week? We've been doing that pretty consistently. So, you know, there's something to be said about that.
Sure, but Raymond, Lily would also need to have fans to look forward to something.
Unfortunately, she does have fans.
There's a crazy for every cause.
Are we done?
We are done with this episode, yes.
Oh, God.
I will refrain in the future if further text blurbs like this are unwanted.
Oh I mean, we're not going to say no. We're just going to be like... no. Well, more I'm going to say is like, I'm happy to hear that for you, or I'm sorry that happened. I ain't reading that.
I ain't reading all that.
Fair enough. This was just something I just wrote up. Not like a thing on the fic, but just there.
But also, something interesting that I find about this is she's really, really making Ren look incompetent.
Yeah.
What's going to be hilarious is if it ends up if they actually stop Starkiller Base from firing and they end up like saving Han or something. What she might actually end up doing is, by comparison to the original films, make Kylo Ren look far more competent than he actually was. Because he at least accomplished things in the actual films, like killing Han and getting Starkiller Base to actually fire alongside Hux.
Starface. That's Patrick Star's Sith name.
It's like I said in the chat, Lily doesn't believe in pitting her characters against serious threats. She just likes to beat up clowns.
That's sad, because I like clowns. Clowns are nice.
Lily Orchard's favorite Raylo.
Snorking.
Which is really weird because since she's not a Batman fan, she's one of those people that thinks that thinks that he specifically just beats up poor people.
Can I just say,
I'm not surprised.
I would like to say, I've spent the last 1 hour and 12 minutes locked in. And during that locking in...
If you're doing that for an hour and 12 minutes, that's a problem.
You try fighting Sisyphus Prime.
Oh, that's what you call it. Okay.
I was going to say, man, how are you not blind yet?
I think I'm going... I've lost track of reality. What year is it?
It's the year where I can say
2037.
Well, it's the year that I can say, just wait, but man, I beat him.
Why isn't everything underwater?
Yeah,
that's the year 3000. What am I talking about?
Yeah, it's the year 2000.
But yeah, anyway, in my locking in, I could still hear the fact that Lily made Kylo Ren a bitch ass motherfucker.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I did not.
I
did not comment was because I could not afford to unlock in.
It's perfectly fine. I understand. I've played Ultra Kill, at least the first chapter.
You haven't. You don't.
That boss.
Oh, that's what you've been doing.
Hey guys, stop talking over each other. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How much have you played?
I've only played the first chapter. I've never played beyond that because I understand how intense that game is. It's not for me. It's too much.
Should we close out?
Yeah, we should close out. Cursed Knight here says, Lily definitely likes the protags humiliating the villains and hates the protags if it's a woman being hurt to the point she calls it a fetish. Please don't make fun of me again, Twilight. Sad face.
When did I make fun of you?
You made fun of him for not knowing what my bucket was.
Yes.
Oh, oh, it was him.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
him.
Yeah, speaking of, what's with the bucket? I'm kidding.
All right, and on that note, thank you all so much for joining us for Bad Fan Fiction Night. Remember, this happens every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to join us here on this channel around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single Tuesday for Team Jack streams that I, Twilight Guardian, and Kaiser Shonen host. And then also there should be merch links in the description down below and also on the channel. So be sure to check that out for the channel. And finally, be sure to support on Patreon. And when you do, you can join the Tundra Discord server for only $1 or more. And if you do, you can have you can be coughed in the ear of by Teddy Bear Paladin himself, the legend. He will personally. That's actually a reward tier for $10. You can have Teddy Bear Paladin cough in your ear.
ASMR only on the
it's the weirdest ASMR.
That wasn't in my bonuses.
We really push boundaries here.
You can listen to me cough myself to death in real time.
You can also listen to me try to feel my right arm again.
Jesus, dude,
You can't just give us those straight lines, man.
Nobody say it. Nobody say it.
Can't help.
It's too
Man,
easy.
when I entered the chat,
oh man, you must
talking
smell
about
like
edging or something.
You must smell like socks wrapped in leathery burnt bacon.
All I smell like is pain.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a good time, and be sure to join us next week as we finish this chapter of this god-awful fanfic. Have a good night, everyone. Catch you all on the flip side.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.